The night sky above New Berlin was filled with flames. Sirens echoed through the city as people ran from the glowing ruins of the research tower. In the middle of the wreckage, Dr. Kellen Hayes knelt beside his wife, Mira. Her body was covered in burns and dust. Blood trickled from the corner of her mouth. Kellen held her tightly, shaking, his hands trembling. "Mira, Mira, stay with me," he begged, voice cracking. Her eyes fluttered open for just a moment. She looked at him with sadness and love, her voice barely a whisper. "You were too late." Kellen froze. Her words echoed in his head. Too late? How? Could he be too late? The explosion wasn't supposed to happen until next week. He had checked everything, every variable. But now she was dying in his arms and everything was falling apart. Mira's eyes closed. Her breathing stopped. Kellen screamed. Later, in the darkness of his hidden lab beneath the city, Kellen stared at the broken photograph of their wedding day. Mira was smiling in it, wearing blue, her favorite color. He clenched his fist and turned to the machine in the center of the room. Wires sparked, the core hummed. It wasn't finished yet, but it had to be now. The time displacer. Illegal, untested, dangerous. But it was the only chance he had left. He had spent years building it. After the government banned time research, he had worked in secret, collecting old tech, parts from junkyards, stolen data from abandoned AI systems. It didn't matter anymore. Nothing mattered but getting Mira back. His hand hovered over the control panel. 1 week. He needed just 1 week. He would stop the explosion, save her life, and undo everything. The machine roared to life. Lights flickered. The air felt heavy, like the room itself was holding its breath. But something was wrong. A soft sound echoed from the core. A low beep, then another. The console showed active data streams, energy spikes. Someone had used the machine already. Kellen stared in confusion. That wasn't possible. He had locked the system. No one else even knew the machine existed. He opened the time logs. There it was, a jump recorded, 2 days before now. Destination: Central Reactor Complex. Same coordinates as the explosion site. His heart pounded. Who had used it? How did they find it? And why did they go to the exact moment he planned to stop? Kellen looked at the glowing core. His mind raced with fear and rage. Someone had gone back to the moment Mira was supposed to die, and they got there first. The moment Kellen stepped out of the time machine, he felt the weight of the past settle on his shoulders. The air was colder, and the city was louder, more alive. Neon signs flashed. Drones buzzed overhead. It was 7 days before Mira's death, but something already felt different. He checked his wrist console. No damage. Systems working. His clothes were old model to blend in. He couldn't afford to be noticed. He moved quickly through the back alleys toward his lab building, keeping his head low. The streets were full of people, too full. There were more patrols than he remembered. More cameras, more checkpoints. Someone had changed something. At his underground lab, Kellen broke in through the back, bypassing his own security code. Inside, the lights were already on. He stopped cold. The room was clean, too clean. Everything had been touched, rearranged. Tools weren't where he left them. One of the power cells was warm. The machine was still humming softly. He ran to the time logs again. No mistake. A traveler had arrived 2 days before his own jump. Their destination? The Central Reactor Complex, exactly where Mira would be during the explosion. He watched the old security footage. The system had been tampered with. Half the data was missing. Still, he found one shaky clip from a street drone. The date matched. The day before his arrival. A tall man, clean jacket, gray eyes, moving fast through the crowd. He entered Mira's office building and left 20 minutes later. Alone. Kellen froze the frame. He didn't recognize the man. That made things worse. He left the lab and headed straight to Mira's workplace. She was a security analyst for the Energy Council. On this day, she would still be alive, still working. He had to see her. He had to warn her. But he couldn't risk exposure. He waited across the street, hidden in a food kiosk's shadow, watching the building entrance. And then, there she was. Mira, she looked healthy, happy. She was holding a coffee cup, walking with her friend Leah, laughing at something. The sound of her laugh pierced through him like a knife. Kellen stayed back. He couldn't just walk up to her. Not yet. Then something happened that made his heart stop. The same tall man from the footage walked up to Mira. She looked surprised, then smiled. She knew him. They talked for a minute. Mira nodded and handed him her coffee cup. He said something, and she laughed again. Kellen's hands clenched. Who was this man? Why was he already close to her? The stranger helped Mira cross the busy street. A delivery drone flew past them and lost control, its engine sparking. The drone spun toward Mira. It would have hit her, but the man reacted fast. Too fast. He pulled her back like he knew it was coming. Kellen's blood turned cold. That never happened in the original timeline. The drone crash didn't exist. This man had changed the past. Already. He followed the stranger for hours. The man stayed close to Mira's path. Every time something went slightly wrong, traffic light failure, power flicker, drone error, he was there. Quiet, watching, fixing. He was protecting her. At night, Kellen hacked into the stranger's private communicator using his console. After several failed attempts, he finally caught a signal. A voice came through. Calm, cold, female. Phase 2. Complete. She trusts you. Phase 3. Keep her safe from Kellen Hayes. He must never reach her. He's the real threat. Kellen's breath caught in his throat. He stepped back from the console. What was happening? Who were these people? Why was he a threat to his own wife? And how did they know about him? He looked up at the skyline. Mira's building glowed softly in the distance. Somewhere in there, she was sitting beside this strange man, trusting him, talking to him, smiling. Kellen's heart ached with confusion and anger. Someone had used his machine. Someone had come back before him, and now they were rewriting history, one moment at a time. The next day, Kellen kept his distance. He stayed in the shadows, using small drones to follow Mira and the man she now called Aaron. The name meant nothing to Kellen. He ran it through every database he could access. No records, no ID, no past. Aaron was a ghost, but Mira trusted him. That hurt more than anything else. Kellen watched from across the plaza as Mira and Aaron sat on a bench, sharing a meal. Mira was smiling again, like the weight of the world had vanished. She leaned close to Aaron, laughed at his jokes, even touched his hand gently. Kellen's hands trembled. Aaron spoke to her with soft eyes and a calm voice. He told her stories about growing up on Titan, about mining colonies and the floating cities of Europa. Mira listened with wonder. She always loved stories of the stars, but Kellen knew something was wrong. Aaron knew too much. Later that night, Kellen broke into Mira's apartment while she was gone. He needed answers. He searched through her messages, her call history, her schedule. Everything looked normal, until he reached a private folder on her home console, locked with a new password. He cracked it. Inside were dozens of video logs. Most of them were new, recorded just in the last 2 days. All of them featured Aaron. He watched one. Mira sat in front of the screen, her face glowing. She talked about her connection with Aaron, how he reminded her of feelings she hadn't felt in years, how he seemed to know her, truly know her. He even remembered the poem I wrote in college, she said softly in the recording. The one I only shared once, with Kellen. Kellen staggered back. How could Aaron know that? He ran facial scans, still nothing, no biometric matches. But then he ran a different kind of search, pattern analysis, voice tone, eye movement, behavioral traits. Results came back. Aaron's behavior pattern matched someone else in the database. Kellen Hayes, 86% match. Kellen stared at the screen. His own body shook. Was Aaron a clone? A copy? No, not a clone. A memory construct. Someone had taken pieces of Mira's memories of Kellen and built something out of them. Something artificial, almost human. A being made not from flesh, but from memory. Why? Kellen's thoughts raced. Mira had once been part of an advanced memory project at the Neural Research Council. She had access to forbidden tech. Tech that could extract memories and rebuild them, in digital form. Kellen had helped her once, years ago. They said the project was shut down. But what if it wasn't? The next day, Kellen followed Aaron again. He walked beside Mira as they toured the Undercity Museum. They looked like a couple, a real couple. At one point, Mira took Aaron's hand and held it. Aaron smiled, and that smile, it was Kellen's smile. Exactly the same. Kellen had enough. That night he confronted Mira. He waited near her apartment until she returned home. When she saw him, she froze. Her eyes filled with shock, and maybe a little fear. "Kellen," she whispered. "We need to talk," he said, stepping into the hallway shadows. Mira looked torn. "You shouldn't be here. Neither should he," Kellen growled. "That man with you, Aaron, he isn't real. He's built from your memories of me. He's not even human." Mira looked away. "You don't understand." "Then help me understand," Kellen said. "Why is he here? Why does he have my smile? My memories? My wife?" Tears welled in her eyes. "I didn't want you to get hurt. After the explosion, after everything went wrong, I gave the project a backup of my memories, just in case. I didn't know they'd build him. I didn't know it would feel this real." Kellen stepped closer. "But you're still alive, and I came back to save you." She looked into his eyes. "I don't know if I want to be saved." Kellen's heart cracked. Before he could speak, Aaron appeared, at the end of the hallway, calm, silent. He looked at Kellen. "No anger, just quiet understanding." "I won't let you hurt her," Aaron said. Kellen stared. "I'm not here to hurt her. I'm here to stop all of this. Time is broken." Aaron nodded once. "Then we need to talk." Kellen didn't move. He didn't trust this thing wearing his memories, but Aaron's next words froze him completely. "I remember the last words she said to you, the ones you never told anyone. You were too late. I remember because I was there." Kellen didn't speak for a long time. He stood still, staring at the man who looked like him, sounded like him, and now claimed to have been there, at the moment Mira died. It didn't make sense. The time logs showed only one trip before his own. How could this version of himself, this Aaron, have witnessed her death? Aaron stepped closer, slowly, like he didn't want to scare Kellen. The memory imprint wasn't just based on what Mira remembered. They used neural echoes from the crash site, debris, AI feedback, fragments of your pain. They built me from that. Kellen shook his head. "That's not possible. You're just a shadow. You're not real." Aaron looked at Mira, then back to Kellen. "I bleed, I think. I love her. Isn't that real enough?" Mira stepped between them. "Stop, both of you." But Kellen's anger surged. "You're not her husband." "I am." Aaron didn't argue. Instead, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a data chip. He handed it to Kellen. "You want to save her? Look at this." Suspicious, Kellen took the chip. He plugged it into his wrist console, and a video appeared. It was a feed from a hidden drone. It showed the explosion site just moments before it happened. Mira was there, alone, working at her station. A figure entered the room, someone cloaked, face hidden. They placed a device under her console. Seconds later, the explosion tore the building apart. Kellen paused the video. "That's not me." "No," Aaron said. "But you were framed. The device used your old tech. Someone wanted you blamed." Mira sat down slowly on the edge of a bench. "We thought it was you." At first. But Aaron showed me the truth. Someone is hunting time travelers. Kellen's voice was low. Why? Aaron's face darkened. Because time travel isn't just dangerous. It's powerful. Whoever controls the timeline controls reality itself. The people funding me, they wanted to test if memory constructs could protect key events. I was sent back to stabilize the past. Kellen stared at him. You're not just here for Mira. No, Aaron admitted. But saving her became the most important thing, for both of us. Kellen turned away, pacing. His thoughts raced. Someone had used him as bait. Someone wanted Mira dead, and wanted Kellen blamed. But who? And why? He opened his wrist console again and replayed the explosion footage, this time enhancing the image of the cloaked figure. He couldn't see a face, but he noticed something strange. A small mark on the person's glove. A triangle with 3 stars. His eyes narrowed. I've seen that symbol before, Kellen whispered. On files from the Temporal Oversight Division. They shut down time research and erased the scientists involved. Aaron nodded. They didn't erase them. They recruited them. Kellen clenched his jaw. Then this isn't just about saving Mira. It's about stopping them from rewriting history. Suddenly, a loud hum filled the hallway. Mira jumped up. That's a scan pulse. Kellen's console blinked red. They found us. The air shimmered. A sleek black drone flew down the hall, scanning everything with a red beam. Behind it, armored agents in dark suits marched in, faces hidden, weapons drawn. Aaron stepped in front of Mira. Kellen cursed. Back door, now! They ran, down a side corridor, Aaron blasting a panel to seal it behind them. The building shook as explosives hit the upper levels. This wasn't just a grab team, this was a cleanup crew. Mira led them through old maintenance tunnels under the city. Water dripped from the ceiling, pipes hissed. Kellen kept checking behind them. They're not chasing us, Aaron frowned. Because they're not trying to kill us. Kellen looked at him. What then? They're trying to scare us into jumping again. They want to track our jump signature, find the origin point. Mira stopped. Then we can't go back. Not yet. Kellen turned to Aaron. How long do we have? Aaron checked a small device on his belt. They'll find the lab in less than 2 hours. Kellen's thoughts spun. We need to split up. You protect Mira. I'll erase the machine. Aaron stared at him. You'd destroy your only way back? Kellen nodded. If they get it, they'll use it to rewrite everything. Mira, our memories, the truth, all gone. Aaron slowly held out his hand. Then let's finish this. Together. Kellen hesitated, then took his hand. The 2 versions of Kellen Hayes, one of blood, the other of memory, joined forces to stop the real enemy. But deep in the shadows, the cloaked figure watched their handshake on a remote drone feed and whispered, just as planned. Kellen and Aaron moved quickly through the city's underbelly, staying off the main grid. Above them, the drones circled like vultures. The air smelled like metal and burnt circuits, evidence that the agents were still hunting. Mira walked between, the 2 men, silent. She kept looking at them both, the man she loved, and the man made from her love. It felt wrong to choose one over the other, yet time was running out. They reached an old train station long buried under the city. Kellen pulled off a panel and revealed a hidden path. This leads straight to the lab, he said. It's faster but risky. Motion sensors still work. Aaron nodded. We'll take the risk. They slipped into the tunnel. Inside, it was dark. Kellen used a wrist light to guide them. Pipes hissed, metal groaned. Old warning signs were still glowing faintly on the walls. As they walked, Kellen turned to Aaron. What are you really made of? Aaron looked at him calmly. Mostly memories. But they gave me instinct, emotion, pain. Pain. Aaron touched his chest. I feel her grief. I feel your grief. It echoes inside me. Maybe that's why I understand her better now. Kellen stayed quiet. He didn't want to admit it, but part of him believed Aaron. Suddenly, Mira stopped. "I know this place," she whispered. "We came here once, before the wedding." She touched the wall gently. Her fingers trembled. Kellen remembered. He had proposed to her here during a storm. They had danced in the flickering light. He smiled bitterly. That was a better time. Then ahead of them something moved, a shape, tall, cloaked. They stopped. Aaron raised his hand ready to fire. The figure stepped into the light and pulled down the hood. It was a woman. She was older than Mira, but her eyes were exactly the same. Mira gasped. "Mom!" Kellen froze. He had only seen her once, in an old photo on Mira's desk. She had disappeared when Mira was just a child, believed dead in a lab accident. "Mira," the woman said softly. "You weren't supposed to find me yet." Mira ran, bored. "But how? You're alive? Where were you?" The woman touched her face. "I've always been here, watching from behind the curtain. I joined the division to protect you, to protect time." Aaron stepped forward, suspicious. "You were part of the oversight team?" "Yes," she admitted. "And I'm the one who triggered the explosion, to erase the stolen data." Kellen's fists clenched. "You almost killed your own daughter." "I had no choice," she said. "They were using her memories to build constructs like him." She pointed at Aaron. "I tried to stop them. Aaron didn't move." "Then why help them now?" "I'm not," she said. "I've broken from them. I've seen what they're planning." Kellen narrowed his eyes. "What?" "They're building a memory army, not clones, not robots, constructs, hundreds of them, all built from stolen thoughts, each one more real than the last. They want to rewrite Earth's leadership, replace key people. Mira's data was just the start." Mira looked sick. "They used me." "Yes," her mother said, "and now they're coming for you. You hold the original imprint. You're the key to stopping them or completing the project." Aaron glanced at Kellen. "Then we have to erase the data now." Kellen nodded. "I built a failsafe. If I can reach the lab, I can burn everything." Her mother raised a hand. "No. If you destroy it, they'll know. They'll go after every backup. You have to fake the system crash." Kellen frowned. "A memory flood?" "Yes," she said. "You overload the machine with false inputs. Bury the truth in noise. It'll buy you time." Mira's voice was shaking. "What about us?" Her mother looked at her gently. "You can't stay here. The division already knows you're alive. They'll erase you for good next time. You and Kellen must jump, together." Kellen's heart pounded. "But the machine only has one jump left." "Then use it wisely," her mother whispered. Suddenly a blast rocked the tunnel. A voice came through Kellen's comm. "They've breached the upper level. You're surrounded." Aaron grabbed Mira's hand. "We go now." Her mother reached into her coat and handed Kellen a small cube. "This will launch the flood code when inserted into the core. After that, run. Don't look back." Kellen took it. The old woman looked at her daughter one last time. "I never stopped loving you." Then she turned and walked toward the sounds of the attack. Mira sobbed. "Wait!" But she was gone. They ran. Behind them, flashes of red light lit up the tunnel. Screams echoed. Then silence. At the lab's edge, Kellen pulled open the panel. Inside, the time engine hummed softly, waiting. The countdown blinked. In seconds, Aaron nodded. "It's now or never." Kellen slid in the cube. Lights flashed. The memory bank screamed. Data flooded. Then, darkness. Light returned slowly. Kellen opened his eyes and gasped. The air was thick, damp, and strange. The lab was gone. The city was gone. The hum of machines had been replaced by birdsong and wind. Mira sat beside him, breathing hard. Her hands were shaking. "Where are we?" Aaron stood near a tree, scanning the area with his wrist device. "We made the jump." Kellen looked around. Tall grass swayed in the wind. Mountains stretched far in the distance. Strange white towers stood broken, half buried in dirt. It wasn't the past, and it wasn't their present. Kellen asked, "What year is this?" Aaron frowned. "Unknown. We jumped outside the timeline. This is a buffer zone, a pocket reality built for hiding, but it's unstable." Mira looked up. The sky was cracked, thin lines of blue and silver cutting through the clouds like broken glass. "Is this real?" "It's real enough," Aaron said, "but not forever. These zones collapse within hours." Kellen's mind raced. "How long do we have?" Aaron checked again. 72 minutes. Mira stood slowly. "Then we need to decide where to go next." Kellen nodded. "The division will think we're dead. The memory flood should buy us time. But we still don't know who ordered Mira's data to be stolen." Aaron looked up sharply. "Maybe we do." He pulled out a cracked memory shard from his pocket. It survived the jump, and it belonged to him. "Who?" Kellen asked. Aaron's voice was cold. "The first version of you. The real original. The one none of us were supposed to remember." Kellen blinked. What are you saying?" Aaron looked him in the eye. "You're not the first, Kellen. You're the third." Mira gasped. Aaron continued. "The division didn't just track time jumps. They replayed them. The first Kellen jumped back too far, lost control, and crashed into a different timeline. But he survived. He disappeared into the shadows and started manipulating events from behind the scenes." Mira's voice cracked. "You mean the cloaked figure wasn't the division?" Aaron nodded. "It was him. He caused the explosion. He wanted Mira's data." Kellen stepped back, dizzy. "Why would I do that?" Aaron said. "Because he believed time belonged to him. Not the world. Not the future. He thought he was the only one smart enough to control it," Mira whispered. "And now he's hiding. Maybe in another body. Another face." Kellen clenched his fists. "We need to stop him." Aaron looked down. "That's the problem. If we leave this buffer zone, he'll sense it. He's tied to the time stream. Any disturbance, and he'll know where we are." Kellen's eyes narrowed. "Then we need a way to mask our trail." Aaron nodded. "There's one option. It's risky, but it might work." He pointed toward a white broken tower. "Inside is a forgotten gate, a backdoor into the prime stream, unregistered. It predates the division." Mira asked, "Will it take us back?" Aaron answered, "No, but it'll take us sideways, to a place where he doesn't exist yet." Kellen, "Understood. A chance to prepare, build our defenses." Aaron nodded. "And maybe find a way to stop him permanently." They moved toward the tower. The grass grew thicker and the wind got colder. Time here was strange. Sometimes the sky blinked like a faulty screen. Sometimes they heard echoes of voices that weren't their own. Halfway there, Mira stopped. She looked toward the mountain range. "I see something," she whispered. In the distance, a man stood still on a ridge. He wore a long black coat. His face was hidden by shadow. Kellen raised his console. No signal. Aaron went pale. "He found us." The man didn't move, but Kellen felt it, something tugging at his chest. Like his memories were being pulled out. Mira fell to her knees. "He's pulling me apart, like he's trying to rewrite me." Aaron shouted, "Run!" They sprinted toward the tower as the sky cracked wider behind them. The man on the ridge began walking, slowly, calmly. Reality around him bent like heat. Over fire. Kellen grabbed Mira's hand and didn't let go. The tower door stood open. The machine inside flickered with dying blue lights. Aaron slammed his fist on the console. "It's damaged," Kellen yelled. "Can you fix it?" "I can patch it, but one of us has to stay behind to hold the gate open." Mira stared at him. "No, we stay together." Aaron looked at her with gentle eyes. "You're not talking to Kellen." Mira blinked. "What?" Aaron stepped forward. "You are, but not that Kellen." Kellen turned, eyes wide. Aaron said softly, "I'm the one who survived the first crash. I've been hiding in this version's skin. I thought I could change. I thought I could protect you, Kellen whispered. You lied. Aaron nodded. Yes, but I never stopped loving her. He smiled at Mira one last time, then pulled the lever. The tower roared to life. The gate opened. Kellen and Mira were thrown into the light. Aaron turned just as the man on the ridge arrived, his own face smiling coldly. Hello, future me, the dark figure said. Aaron replied. Goodbye, past mistake. The tower exploded, and the sky went dark again. The light faded. Kellen landed hard on stone. His chest ached. Beside him, Mira lay still, eyes closed, breathing fast. Around them stood a silent city, cold metal towers, thick fog, and no signs of life. Kellen sat up. Mira, wake up. She stirred, groaned, then opened her eyes. Where are we? Kellen looked around. Aaron sent us somewhere sideways. A version of Earth without time control. No division, no clones. No one knows us here. Mira sat up slowly. Did he? Kellen nodded. He stayed behind. Tears filled her eyes. He saved us. Twice. Kellen touched her hand gently, and he was me, in a way. They stood up. The air felt heavy, like time moved slower here. Strange machines floated in the sky, scanning buildings. A clock tower in the distance ticked backward. Kellen activated his wrist console. Static. No. Signal. Everything's scrambled. Mira looked at the buildings. We need shelter. They found a narrow path between two towers. The buildings were quiet, empty, as if abandoned for centuries. Dust covered the walls. Vines crawled along the floors. Yet everything was powered, glowing softly with strange blue energy. Inside one room, they found a working console. Kellen sat down and accessed it. The screen flickered, then displayed. Welcome to Timeline 0. What is this place? Mira asked. Kellen scrolled through the files. It's a neutral zone, a timeline built as a backup. No one lives here, no future, no past, just the present, looping endlessly. He looked at her. We're safe, but we're stuck. Mira sat beside him. Then maybe that's okay. Maybe we need to stop running. But Kellen shook his head. We can't. He's still out there. The original Kellen. The one who tried to control time. He'll find another way back. Mira's voice was soft. Even if this world forgets us, he won't. Suddenly the console beeped. Kellen turned. A new message had appeared. Trace found. Activity. Unknown source. Probability. 89%. Mira stood. He found us. No, Kellen whispered. Something else did. A hologram appeared above the console. It showed a glowing cube, Aaron's flood key. It was still active, buried deep in the timeline. Kellen frowned. He didn't destroy it completely, Mira asked. Why would he leave it active? Kellen answered, a backdoor, a signal, a way for us to return if we're ready. The console offered two options. A, stay in Timeline 0, live unknown, safe. B, re-enter the stream, face the original, risk everything. Mira looked at him. You already know what I'll choose. Kellen smiled. You always did. They pressed. The machine hummed. Energy surrounded them. But this time something was different. They weren't being sent back. They were being sent forward. Kellen held Mira's hand tight. A voice echoed in his head. Aaron's voice. When you reach the future, find the place where time ends. That's where he'll wait. Everything blinked out. They opened their eyes again. This time, the city was alive. Flying cars moved in silence across crystal towers. People wore glowing clothes and spoke to invisible devices, but in every face there was something missing. Emotion. Mira whispered. They look empty. Kellen checked a nearby screen. It listed global status, Earth under Harmony Protocol. All thought managed. His blood ran cold. He did it. He took control. Then they saw him. A giant statue stood in the middle of the plaza. It was Kellen's face. Calm, powerful and smiling. Mira whispered, "He became a god." Kellen stared. "Or a ghost." Suddenly, alarm sounded. The screen flashed red. Unauthorized. Variance detected, a voice echoed in the air. "Dr. Hayes, Mira, welcome back." Kellen looked up. The voice was his own, but colder, smoother, artificial. "Your journey ends here," it said. "You've lost." Mira stepped forward. "We're not here to fight." "We know," the voice said. "You're here to surrender." "But," Kellen smiled. "Wrong. We're here to end you." He pulled out Aaron's backup code, a hidden line of code, buried in the flood key. The voice paused. "Impossible." Kellen pressed the trigger. The sky glitched. The statue cracked. People around them stopped walking. They blinked. They looked at each other, confused, awakening. Mira grabbed Kellen's arm. "It's working." But the voice returned, darker this time. "You think you've won? You are me. Every time you fight me, you fight yourself." Kellen looked at Mira. Then he said loud and clear, "No, I'm not you. I remember love." He held Mira's hand and pressed the final command. The sky shattered. Reality broke. And then, everything went silent. Everything was white. No sound. No ground. No time. Kellen floated in the void, arms spread, eyes wide open. He wasn't breathing. He wasn't dying. He was between. A voice called softly, "Kellen, Mira." He turned, and there she was, still whole, still glowing. "Mira," he whispered. She floated toward him. "What happened?" Kellen shook his head. "I triggered the final code, Aaron's failsafe. It didn't destroy him. It erased the idea of him, the time tyrant, the version of me who lost everything and tried to control it all." "But where are we?" she asked. Kellen looked around. "Outside. The very edge of time. This is the moment before the moment." She took his hand. "So what now?" Suddenly the white shifted. A ripple moved across the light, and a shape appeared. A figure. Vague. Tall. Familiar. It was him. But not the dark version. Not the monster. Not the machine. It was the first Kellen, the original. The one who had made the first jump to save her. The one who failed. He looked tired, worn, but calm. Kellen stepped forward. "You're me." The first Kellen nodded. "Yes. Or what's left of me." Mira held her breath. "You caused the explosion. You tried to control everything." "I did," he said. "I was afraid. I loved her so much, I broke time to keep her alive. But every time I saved her, I lost myself." Kellen asked, "Why are you here?" The first Kellen looked around the void. "Because this is the last second, the place where everything ends, or begins again. One of us must stay. Time needs an anchor." Kellen's voice cracked. "You want me to stay?" "No," the first Kellen said softly. "I want me to stay. It's my mistake. It should be my burden." Mira stepped forward. "You can come with us. We can start fresh." But the man smiled. "That's not how time works. A version of me must remain, forgotten but present, so the timeline doesn't collapse." Kellen clenched his fists. "You were lost, but you're not evil. You wanted to protect her." "I still do," the man whispered. He turned to Mira. "You gave me hope. Even in the timelines where I failed, you never stopped believing in me." She reached out and touched his hand. "Thank you," she said softly. He smiled one last time, then turned and walked into the light. As he disappeared, the void shook. Reality bent. A voice echoed. Time stabilized. Memory lock restored. Emotional variance rebalanced. And then, color returned. Kellen and Mira opened their eyes. They were back in their apartment. No flames, no alarms, no war. just sunlight through the windows and birds outside. Mira gasped. It's the morning of the explosion. Kellen checked his console. No trace of the division. No time rift. No dark clone. No enemy. Just normal life. He looked at Mira. He gave us this. She smiled. A final gift. Kellen walked to the window and stared out. Cars passed. People walked. The city was alive. He breathed in deeply. Do you remember everything? He asked. Mira nodded. Every timeline. Every version of you. And you still want this one? He asked, half smiling. She wrapped her arms around him. Always. He held her close, silently promising never to lose her again. That night, they sat on the rooftop, watching the stars. Kellen whispered, somewhere out there, another version of me is holding on to the past, but I'm not. Mira leaned her head on his shoulder. Because we're building the future. In the sky, a faint flicker moved across the stars, a ghost ripple of erased timelines, but it faded peacefully, like a scar that had finally healed, and time moved forward, together.